You want to know something that I've gotten super addicted to lately? I've gotten super addicted to... Oh, I think it still thinks we're on another live stream. It might pop us through at some point. I'm testing audio. The audio is working. I don't know. Oh, we do have audio. Okay. Well, for some reason my live stream's just been bonked out. That was weird. I don't know why. It was just bonked out. Alright, so sorry about that, guys. If you're popping over to this live stream. My thing crashed. Completely crashed. I don't know. My computer crashed. Apparently it can't handle stuff. It can't handle the terminal craziness that we're doing. Should I try this again? I was trying to like, so if I go over to, what am I here? This thing. Downloads. This is a .html. Oh, gosh darn it. I freaking hate. I love the Plasma, whatever you call it, the Plasma desktop environment until you get to like certain things. Then that's when I just start not liking it. Also, are we like... This is literally just a HTML file. It's not a actual thing. Can I import? Import from URL. Can I import this? Unknown error. Can't import from that. That might have been the wrong import though. See, it exports as a... Maybe, am I not doing the HTML correctly? I wonder if it needs to be like, not this chunk of it. No. File import from device. I want to import this. If this crashes my computer again, I'm going to be annoyed. 1 second. Where is it? Where is it? You missed my message about how OSU handles their beautiful text input animation. It's sprites. Every letter on the character is treated like a sprite. Yes. Yeah, I actually read that off like between the crash and my stream. I think you're right. Whatever you're reading does sound right. And that's kind of what I was hypothesizing that I have to do what I want to do. And it just sounds so much work because like you have to... I need to write this down as I think through it. That's why I'm trying to get my draw.io to work. Once I write it down, once I get started writing it down, we can start looking at it and it'll make a lot more sense of what I'm thinking we kind of start doing. Am I blind? I'm blind here. This is what I'm trying to open. What is... Did I just lose my... I might need to boot into my other system at some point. You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna... New... Or just file new. I don't care. Blank diagram. Okay. We're just new system. New thing. I don't care anymore. Just leave. I don't care. Just delete that stuff. All right. So... We need to name this thing that we're going to start talking about. What we're going to talk about right now is the text character system. Because I do know that like this is very small part of like what I want to build. but it's something that I want to build or I want my thing to have. So we're going to need to build a text character system where it does exactly what you say that Osu does, where we need to create a container or a character processor. So what this character processor is going to do is it takes in actually, what should I want to I want to try to use some stuff. It takes in a, let's call it, it takes in a rectangle. No, not really a real rectangle. Let me bring the actor to the front. Bring the front. Okay, so it's going to take in a rectangle. Not really. It's not a real rectangle. Where it's going to take in a file. So it's going to be it's going to take in a font file. I don't know too much about font files, but it's going to take in a font file. And this is going to be font characters. And then it's going to map that file. So the whole idea of this character processor is it's going to need to map this to normal inputs. Or it's going to need to map the visuals to normal inputs. I think that's kind of what we're getting at. So it's going to take that. And this is going to need to do a couple functions. I'm going to probably just put them as text. It's going to need to, map the visuals to basic ASCII characters to be used on backend. So it's going to do that. It's going to map those visuals. So basically the A font is a character, it's a sprite, just like you say. And on the back end, it thinks that, oh, that's A. It's A, like character ASCII A. And then these are all going to be stringed together, these fonts combined in an object. These characters combined in an object. So this will be under... Let's start from a use case scenario. So we have keyboard controller. We need a keyboard input controller. The keyboard input controller is going to take in characters. It will take in input characters. It will then, those characters, we need the focus system. The focus pointer. Let's call it the focus pointer. The focus pointer focuses on current selected object, or focuses on object to be interactable. So the focus pointer focuses on objects to be interactable. This is going to be using keyboard shortcuts or mouse clicks / movement. We're gonna have to do a whole weird thing there. So we'll be taking keyboard shortcuts, mouse clicks, movement. I don't know if you want to. I think there's the two main things. The keyboard shortcuts is going to be roughly like tabs, arrow keys, things like that, or shift tabs. So it will be a keyboard shortcut kind of thing. So you got a focus pointer. You have a default focus area. So this will have a default, defaults to like the newest input object. That's basically what it's going to do. It's going to default to the newest input object. Okay, so we need to do a whole flow chart of how this works. So we're going to have game opens up. We're kind of building this out from like so we have like a whole bunch of functions that we got to figure out how to build, and we got to focus out how we're going to build these objects out, because this is how you kind of start the game design process. Is you need to build that vertical. So you got to figure out all the little pieces that all net map together to be able to build out this thing. So we have the focus pointer. We have, so game opens to new input object. Later on we can do saved sessions with history logs and stuff like that. That'll be a thing that we'll do in the future, but we're not gonna worry about that. So the game opens to a new input object. So that's going to then queue up our focus pointer, which points to that input object that goes to the default of the newest input object, which then we're focused in our main object right now, right? This is like the vertical. Us being focused on the main object, we need to be able to take in keyboard input. This is external thing. It runs when this is going to be a global controller object of some sort. Oh, gosh darn it. How do you... Anybody know how to like... Oh. That's why. It's not really... I want... Wait, how do you... Normally these things you can like... adjust around a bit. This runs on startup. So the keyboard input controller runs on startup, because we need this to be global, and this needs to tie in, and it's communicating basically with that focus pointer a bunch. So these two are going to be very much intertwined a lot. Yeah, these two just have a lot of intertwining to do. They just, that's just what they do. They gotta be like buddy systems. They gotta be real buddies. So let's put them real buddies here. You know, they kind of do their thing. So these two kind of just intertwine a lot together. Just boom, they're buddies. So opens up. We need to do a focus system. We need to do a keyboard input system. And at first, that focus system, so this is beta 1. We're going to have two things here. We're going to have, so this is going to be beta, or this is going to be version 1. So version 1 is just going to be text input box. So this is all going to go to text input box. I guess, yeah, let's just have it go along here. So it's going to be, version 1 is going to be a text input box. Keyboard is going to do that. Focus pointer. I'm trying to think, how do we get this character processor? Where does this belong? This character processor. I can kind of see in my brain how the input object, or like the input control things, they'll type in keys, which the pointer will take said keys, inject them into an object, because I don't want this to become like a huge script that's like 1,000 lines long. I want these to be very modular pieces of their own accord that like I can move them around because I can kind of see that the architecture of this might change while I'm developing. That's why I'm going to say there's going to be a couple of different versions of how this is going to work. What is this? Currently my wife sorry, wife is messaging. We're trying to get clothes for our little one. So, text input goes into the focus pointer. Focus pointer takes said text. And injects it. Yes, I think. I know what you got to do. Focus pointer is going to query the character processor. If input characters to an input object like a text box, it will build a character object. I gotta be careful of this though, because we only want the character processing scripts to function on the input lines. Then all the other text in the GUI will still resort back to this font file, because we want we want a user to be able to, set their own font for the entire application. Maybe even sub fonts, like maybe certain things are one font, other things are other fonts. But in a terminal, you don't necessarily need to type in an output area. Because if you type in an output area, then like what is it? Does that turn into an input then? Or does it not turn into an input then? Like what is the whole reason of that input output thing? So I'm thinking the focus pointer, it will understand that these text inputs are coming in and we're focused in on a text input box. We need those characters to be sprites, or we need to render these characters coming in as sprites. So it's going to generate a sprite character object, and it's going to inject that over into that area, that location of the text input box. And there's going to be a back layer of that, of like it's straight up text, of course, so that we can just take that text, like when press enter, take that text and throw it into a command prompt that goes below into the output, and or the text then transitions to output. This all deletes as if those characters never existed. That's basically what it's gonna do. But so there's gonna be an object here. So if input characters are an input object like a text box, input characters and focus is on input box, it will input generate sprite character text object. So it's going to be a combination. So it's going to be like a text object that has a lot of children objects, which is all of the different characters underneath it. I'm trying to build this, I'm trying to architecture this such that when I finish it, I want these all to be so modularized that you can do any kind of font you want. This character processor is very documented out such and that it can be altered using some kind of add-ons that I might develop that where people can follow my code, my logic of how to build the add-on, so that they can do their own text animations, like input their own like kind of stuff for it, like I don't know, characters blowing up or something like that. I don't know, something weird like animation stuff. So I want that to be a plausibility in the future. So that's why I'm like, I really want this to be its own segmented off piece that people then can access and build out on their own and not have to worry about the whole video game input thing of this. This is the stuff that people won't alter unless I find that we need to. So this is going to be version 2 right here, what we're thinking right here. We don't need to worry about that actually. I think this explains this enough for at least my understanding right now. Let's call this for version 2. So this is for version 2. Actually, why did I say ver? Let's just call it v2. This is v1 input box. So we're not going to do this now. I just wanted to brainstorm this today, because if we brainstorm how this works, I think this is going to help us understand how we're building this out to be modular, that we can just, once we figure out how to build all of these 3 pieces, we can just delete this and insert this thing, which then goes to a v2 box. So we're going to have a v2 box here. Text input box using character processor. All right. Am I like, what am I doing here? Input, not input. We're not working with inputs here. We're working with input. All right. Yeah. I think I now know a little better of what I'm trying to go for. Gosh. Why do we have to... I need to look up... Is there text sprite systems? For Godot. I'm wondering if Godot... Somebody built some kind of text sprite system or something like that in Godot that we can like steal. Sorry. We will tactfully repurpose for our own means. A text sprite system in Godot involves using sprite-based methods to render text, often for stylized or retro aesthetic. One approach is to use a sprite sheet to display text, where each character is a separate sprite within the sheet. This can be implemented using a custom script that functions as a label, loading the sprite sheet and mapping characters to their respective positions and dimensions on the sheet. Okay, that makes sense. I know how sprites work. That's how sprites work. Somebody draw text on sprite. Can I make a sprite out of text with text? Okay. Sprite text. Asset library. Hello. Can be used as a label that uses a sprite sheet to display text. What is this? Icon, sprite, text, strip. This is like the most block font PNG. Wait. What's their thing? Let me see. What are they doing here? This guy. Okay. Set visible characters. Get visible characters. Set font texture. Get font texture. Okay, I got a bunch of different variables for heights. Just trying to be able to render these at a certain like look or sizing. All right. We set up a process. Font texture is not equal to null. Set text. Visibility. Go get text. Get character width, get text with height. I don't know if this supports. Okay, function setup. Okay, process. So they have a typing kind of thing. Text length draw. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, you gotta love this. If character ID equals -1, if character new line I equals 0, I plus equals space, I is greater than floor. Oh gosh. Oh, this looks like dread, existential dread. I don't know if I want to. Animation ID, rectangle region. Oh gosh. That looks like dreadful. Just blastedly dreadful. This might be something that we just go to when we get there. You know, just go there when we get there. Yeah, export as. How do you save these files? Apparently I didn't know how to save these files before. I want to download the save. We're gonna do what are these file types? This is just like what was this thing all about? This is called input architecture. How do you spell architecture? Input structure. I can't see what I'm typing. Whatever. You know what? Screw it. I don't care. We're gonna do camel case because I'm evil. And I want to save it in this area because yes, I want to keep it with my project. Okay. So, I think we got it. This is going to be our input architecture. Or input structure. Okay. This is our input structure, guys. Game turns on. We generate a new input box programmatically. Yes, we like programmatically. Generate new input box programmatically. We have a focus object that focuses on that box. We have a keyboard controller which takes in keyboard inputs and inputs into that box. We have to overwrite Godot's input text system. Gosh darn it. We're going to have to redo. Oh, gosh. Okay, so we need some stuff here. Oh gosh. we're gonna need a couple things. I need to build a focus system. I need to build a text input controller. Technically, Godot has its own text input controller, but it's going to get in the way of the grand scheme of everything. You know, at the end of this, we probably would have been better off if we knew how to build our own stuff. We have like a... All right. Wait, do we need an input controller? No, we don't need an input controller. A text input controller. Yes, we do, for hotkeys specifically. But other than hotkeys, we don't. Because the game will register characters, and we can build that input character system into our focus system. To like basically just grab all that stuff and throw it into whatever system after that would generate the text rendered output stuff, right? Yes. You gotta love these brainstorm sessions with me talking to myself with the empty chat. Except for you, Nino. You've been around, maybe. I don't know. You did send a text earlier, but you might have been around. What am I going for? All right, so what do we need to build? Like, I'm just trying to figure out a starting point. Game opens. All right, we have an input line. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of the directory line. Let's not worry about that. Let's like get rid of the things I don't care about right now. We don't need a viewport container. We don't need that container. We don't need another node. We just need an input container. Which, when we start the game up, it can't even navigate to that text input container. So we need to build our focus system first. I think that is the first thing we need to build, is that focus system. So just like when I type in tab, because it only works once I press it with the mouse. So we need to start with the focus system. All right, so here, let me delete that script. We'll need to build the script later on, but I just don't want to build things that I don't have. So we're gonna need a new script. Focus cursor. That's what the other thing called it. Should we steal that? Understand? Like, should we do that? Focus cursor. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good name. I feel like that's pretty universal. Did I spell cursor right? I don't even know if I spelled cursor right. I did spell cursor right. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. All right, so we have focus cursor. So the whole idea, so this script is to process hotkeys to navigate to, or to put in focus the objects we want to action on. All right, that's the whole point of this. The script is going to be to put in focus the object to do things. Yes. So on func ready. We want to, okay, so we need to take input. Gosh darn, I need the AI to help me out, or I need to go through a lot more stuff to remember how to do half these things. Can I What's citizen? I got quadrant, 4 column. Should we use 4 column? Let's use 4 column. All right, we're using 4 column now. Oh gosh. Okay, never mind. That's gonna maybe not be the best way to. How do we? I don't know how to make this so you guys can see all my windows accurately, because you guys would want to see all my windows, I imagine, of what I'm doing and such. Okay, so I need to make a focus script, global script in Godot that in my game I can press tab to go through the different objects that can be focused on to be able to take in inputs. Yes, because we only want to tab over things that can take in inputs. And then there's going to be a cursor object later on. Oh, frick. There's going to be a cursor where there'll be a function later on that we'll need to take in for output to put a cursor on the output. Oh gosh, okay. Let me write this down. We'll need a cursor location script to understand highlighting in output boxes and input boxes technically. That's a thing. That's a thing that we'll have to do. Just save that for another day. That's what we're gonna have to do. Okay. Okay. You'll maintain a list of focusable nodes like UI elements or interactive objects. When tab is pressed, you'll cycle through a list and set focus to the next one. The script will live in a singleton so it can be accessed globally. Create auto load singleton. Yes, I know how to do that. Project settings, globals, I think. Right? Pretty sure it's up here. Auto load. Input map. Pretty sure it's this, right? I think it's this. Oh yeah, see auto load. Yeah. That's right. I know where I'm going. We're going to want. Actually, rename this thing. I like the idea. Let's call this Focus Manager. We're gonna use camel case. Do we want to use camel case, or do you want to use? Or what's the thing where it's like lowercase word underscore lowercase word? What is that called? I can't remember. Camel case is where it's like capital lower capital lower. That's like the capital at the beginning of like words. That's camel case. What's the standard format? I think the standard format of Godot is camel case. So we'll use camel case. Why not? We'll use camel case. We gotta keep these things, in line. Okay, project settings. Focus manager, add. Okay, so that now should run upon starting up of our thing. So step 1 done. Okay, cool. So we need to be able to document or enumerate all of the different objects created when the game renders, so that we can be able to focus through them or tab through them, really, if we're doing this by mouse or keyboard. I mean, mainly keyboard. So we're gonna need to make a global variable for that. Variable focusables. Yeah, it's going to be an array that we'll fill out later on. Let's do a pointer object. It's going to be -1, 0. -1 means it won't be pointing towards anything when you first start up the application. But we might override that. Let's set it so it doesn't do anything at first, and then so that when we can test this, like we can tab and it'll test this by going to the first object. That way we can test that like their tabbing does work right off the get-go. Function ready. So function ready. How do you use void work in Godot? I don't know how void works in GD scripts. I'm just gonna do a quick whatever filler thing here. I'm gonna think. So we need an input module thing. I'm looking at right now a AI of what they did. Should we copy and paste, guys? We'll copy and paste, but I'm gonna walk through it just so we can understand how it works, because it's not good to copy and paste something without understanding how it works, right? Let's do that. Okay, so what this does all right, it's going to set process input. What does that do? Set process input enables input processing. All right, easy. This will automatically enable before ready is called input processing is also already enabled for GUI controls such as button and in-text editing. All right, cool. That's easy enough. So that's a function within Godot itself. All right, okay, so register focusable. So if node not in focusable, we're gonna append it. If node not in focusables. Okay, so we will use this function later on to add things to this focusable list. So upon creation of a new object, we're going to call this global. Upon creation of a new object, make sure to call this function to add that new object to the focusable list. So that's going to be a crucial thing that we need to do, is we need to like basically call that function to add it to the focusable list so that we can tab through all the focusables and be able to like, get what we need. All right, so we got an unregister focusable. If deletion is ever needed, make sure to call this to delete from focusables, else hotkeys will get janky. I can see that being a thing in the future. That's basically what these two are going to be all about. All right, input. All right, what's input event? Input event. If event is input key and event pressed and event scan code equals key to the stab, aka the tapping through things, it will cycle focus. What is cycle focus? Cycle focus is if cycle is equal to 0, return, else pointer plus 1%, focus will less size, percent weight modular of focus. Wait, what? What does this part do? Takes the full size, percent tabs that to where it needs to be. Node var node equals focusable pointer if node is control, aka probably looking at the parent class. I'm guessing that's what that's doing. We'll grab focus of that. Else if the node has method on focus calls on focus. Just a real quick checker. So a line edit object probably has the thing called on focus. Select all on focus. I'm guessing it does. It's just not showing it over here because it's probably an underlying thing that's for programmatic use only. So I'm guessing that's what that is. So it's going to call those nodes to be focusable if they are control objects. Meaning, ooh, okay, I see there could be an error in the future for this exactly that makes it so if the node object is not a controller and I accidentally call register, actually that's going to be a human error. That's human error. So I don't need to worry about that. Yeah, I don't think I need to worry about that because that'll just be human error later on. All right. How to use it in your game, in your focus nodes like buttons, panels, objects. You just gotta. If you're using custom nodes, not UI controls, you can define an on-focus method to handle what happens when they get focused. All right, optional enhancements, add filtering, support shift tab to cycle backwards. Add the shift tab. I'm gonna have it add the shift tab. I'm guessing it's just like gonna be here. Yeah. It literally is just like, let's just rewrite these right here. Cycle focus. Wait, why is this red? Assignment is not allowed inside an expression. Wait, did I assign that? What's... No? Wait, I'm confused. I think I want to override this with this. This is what the AI is giving me, kind of. I think we need to have like a var back and var back. I think we need to have a var backward up here. Did I spell that right? Whoops. Backwood. Bachwood, not backward. No? No? Wait, what? Not allowed inside an expression? Screw that. What? What is this talking about? Can I not assign it? Okay, I'm missing a line here and I don't feel like figuring out what line it was, so I'm just gonna. What am I doing here? Assignment not allowed in expression. Why is this breaking right here? Anybody? Am I just stupid? An event pressed. Key is event. Event is blah. Ready and processed. If not focusable, blah, blah, blah. That's all good. That's all good. All right. If event is input key and event dot pressed. So basically, if any key is pressed, go through here. If event dot scan code is equal to tab. If event dot shift. Oh, shift is a toggler. I forgot about that. How shift is a toggler that like it would only be a shifted event if it was right now being pressed, meaning it is part of the event type of shift. Okay, I never thought about it that way. Use space character for indentation. Oh gosh, you gotta love AI. It's kind of funny because like that's totally a mistake that probably a lot of people might make. So like, yeah, it's kind of funny how that is a thing. Oh, it's cycle focus. Wait, so why won't it let me do? Assignment not allowed inside an expression. That's fairly limiting on the programming language, isn't it? Is it not? I don't think this thing understands what I'm going for. I see where you're pointing out that line. It's totally valid in the GD script as long as cycle focus function is defined to accept a parameter. I don't think I need this then, right? Why is this breaking? Gosh darn it. Also, why doesn't this let me just copy at line 24, character 37? You're likely using Godot 3 point blah blah. I'm using Godot 4. I'm using Godot 4, right? Yeah, 4.5. Using Godot 4.5 custom build. I'm building my own Godot. What the frick? This is when AI just doesn't know what it's talking about. Either way, I fixed it. It's that. Okay. So theoretically, this won't work. This won't work. We need to call focus manager dot register focusable self. Is that how you call it? Invalid access to property or key scan code on base object of type input event key. What does that mean? So I ran Godot game, and when I press tab I get blah blah blah. Thanks for the detail. That error means you're trying to access scan but Godot input event key uses a different property name. The correct property is event.keycode. Oh. Restart. Nope. And then use the property or key shift on base object of input event key. Okay, so it's we're crashing out right now. Replace this line. So now we need if you're using shift tab, update that too. Event.shift pressed. Oh, I see. Shift pressed. Yeah. All right, let's try that now. Booyah! We did it. We did it. We built our custom. Yeah, baby. We did it. Oh boy. All right, cool. We did it, guys. We have our focus script, our focus manager. We're one step of the way there. One step only. Okay. We are one step of the way there. We have a focus manager that is going to help us do our tabbing to get through things, get around things, just stuff like that. All right. What's our next thing? AA. What's our next thing? AA. Do I have? Why do I have so many? What's this? Oh, wait. Oh, do I have two? I do have two things open. Let me close that out. I only need the one. All right, so we have done it. We have built our focus pointer. Our focus pointer, now let's input text. Now we need to I just realized that I think I did like a text input something whatever in one of my previous Godot projects. I need to go back. This is why it's really good to live stream, because when you live stream, you have a save file of like your work while you were working on like whatever stuff, and you can go back and see what it was like, even if you don't have the text, as long as YouTube saves your save file, of course. So yeah, so that's good. So we got focus manager all good though. I'm happy. We got that good. I'm gonna delete things that we're not ready for yet. Wait, what the? No, don't delete that line thing. I want to delete this thing. So we got a line. I think my wife might want me off. I just see her trumping around a little bit. So, guys, I'm going to probably end the stream there. We got our focus module to work, so that's kind of cool. We got a long ways to go, though. We got to build a whole freaking text animation system. Oh my gosh, that's going to be a pain. And then we got to build the actual input module through, around, and back again. Basically all that good stuff. And yeah, that is what we got to do. All right, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. If you want to go watch or, give me some nice runtime, go watch all of our previous stuff, or at least, just have it running in the background while you guys do whatever you need to do. Sleep, play games, do stuff. Have it run in the background. It'll help out the channel, because we're right now at over 1,000 subscribers, but we still need watch hours to be able to get monetized, and it would be nice to, make $1 or $2 from this thing every now and then. So, yeah. Like and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.